Let's go. We got the one and only Bridgette Boucha in the house, best-selling author of the book Money Queen. And we're going to break it down because let me tell you, we could all use a little more money, right? We could all enjoy learning a little bit more about money, and you make it simple. So let's jump straight into it, all right? You recently released a book. What is your book? What's it about? Give us the goods.
Yeah, very exciting. It is called Money Queen, and it is really for the soulful entrepreneurs to have a simple framework that can help you understand and feel empowered by this amazing tool that every business owner on the planet gets to manage. And so finally, I wanted to pull together all the resources, all the patterns and different things that I've seen with working with other entrepreneurs, as well as scaling my own business, to give it to you in a simplified, guided approach so that you can finally improve the relationship that you have with money, because it's not going anywhere, thankfully.
Yeah, yeah. And I've worked a lot personally on my money mindset over the years, and so I'm excited for us to dig in and talk about some of your principles and kind of how you help entrepreneurs really dig into this. Excuse me. But let's jump straight into this side of things, which is the book came out, is awesome success. You're doing a 4-state book launch tour. I mean, you're going everywhere with this thing. What made you decide that it was like, I need to actually write this book? Because you went fast and you made a commitment and then you honored it. So what made you decide that you needed a book to grow your business?
Yeah, I had kind of realized over the years of scaling my own business and helping entrepreneurs, there was just this underserved audience of people that weren't really ready. Their business wasn't in the season yet to hire a fractional CFO. And I wanted to help them. So I thought, oh my gosh, what a better way than to take all the experiences that I've learned, all these patterns I've identified, all the strategies that have been proven and sought after, and put them into one book so I could help more people. It was very clarifying. It was very exciting to get it out into the hands of the entrepreneurs out there, or anybody that really manages money, whether it's your household or your business. There's still strategies that apply across the board. And so it was really a combination of the underserved market and the audience that I was building that I wasn't quite able to help yet. And this book allows me to do that.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, your book, when you first had the idea to write your book, what was the intention behind why you decided to create this book and what were you hoping it to do for you?
Yeah, I really didn't have anything legacy. I've always enjoyed speaking and guest coaching and getting into mastermind communities and different containers. And I really thought, what a great way for me to be able to offer them of something of value and then speak about it. So really speaking, paid speaking, more reach, more just like I said, it's a legacy thing that people can gift to others. And it just felt really good about taking me and my business to the next level by being able to speak to more people through the written word, through the spoken word, through all of it.
And what would you say that, as you're doing this, right? You know that this is going to help your business. You know that this is going to be a great tool to start getting in these circles and really level up that side of your life. What was your favorite part of the entire process?
It was very clarifying. For anybody out there that's listening that, we're kind of, we like lists, we like to check things off, we like to get things done. Well, for me, I liked the framework of the program because I'm very coachable. I like to be self motivated, but also held accountable. And so it was really important to me to have a roadmap to follow in order to get this book into the world. I kept getting stuck prior to this. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't, frankly, I'm scaling a business too. Like, I didn't have time to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. And that's when you reached out to us. And I know I'll never forget this because you came and spoke at our live event and you literally brought your commitment contract to the event, dated on the day that you decided to do it. And less than 6 months later, you were best-selling author, your book was out, and it's generating opportunities for you, right? I want to talk about some of the opportunities the book created. So you're getting ready to launch the book. We're in the process of finalizing up for you, doing what we do on a back end, taking care of you. And you tell me, Jake, I know this is going to bring some business into my business. What was a move that you did, and what did you decide to do preemptively, knowing that your book and believing that your book was going to help grow the business?
Oh yeah, I started building my team. But here's the funny thing is we shared this, I started building my team early kind of in preparation for book launch. So just for timeline purposes, no matter when you're hearing this, my book launched in September and I started building my team in the summer, July, August to get ready for it. And what was so crazy and so wonderful about it all is, I was very open in sharing my experience about this. I was writing it. People were getting invested in the process. They couldn't wait to read it. And it just generated this energy around me that those leads came in before the book came out, which is great. I mean, it's really exciting. I think, I am a true believer in, as I know you are, is energy attracts like energy. And when you level up and you do something big that you hadn't done before, that a lot of people haven't done before, that calls in something. Like there's a circulation there and it's still going now that the tangible book's here, but that was unexpected to me. And I'm glad that I started when I did, getting the team together, because you don't even have to wait for it to launch. You just have to step up into that person that
Yeah.
becomes the author.
Do you think that, because writing a book, like you just said, it's something that very few people do, right? Do you think that as the book became more and more real, as you finished a rough draft, as you started to see the book cover being designed, as you started to see all these things, you started making hiring decisions. Do you feel that the book, by taking that big action and doing this massive task, massive undertaking, you started to believe that the business was going to grow, that you actually knew as much as you did, that you were actually even better than you originally thought that you were? Talk to me about the shift that happened within you.
Yeah, like, going through and writing the book and getting the outline done was really a total pivotal moment for me, because all of a sudden I had that framework and then I got to fill in the blanks. And it was kind of fun to go through that process of, sure, it's my process, it's my business partner and Amanda's process when we go through and we work with clients. And it allowed me to really see and refine all of the pieces that either worked really well or were digestible, that landed really well when we spoke to clients, so that I could get that clarity and deliver it in a simple guide. I could go deep. I did go deep. I got edited the crap out of this thing because I was like, that's too much. That's too much information. Who's my person that's reading this? And it was really somebody that wanted to simplify their money. They wanted to be able to understand how to use it, and they wanted to feel educated and empowered, and they didn't need to go create a bunch of spreadsheets or, it really was allowing me to get so clear. And how simple can I make it? How fun can I make it? How soulful can I make it? And it was just really cool, because I think it probably, did show up differently in how I deliver as well, because I got a chance to really look at it and read it and reread it and go, okay, is this in alignment with how I want to show up and who I want to help? And I think it allowed me to do that better.
Mm, mm. I love that. We always say it's so much bigger than a book, right? The book is, yes, it's the tangible vehicle and the thing that produces that result, but who you become in this process is something truly special. But I want to talk about it. You just mentioned, the book is designed to help the reader that you had in mind simplify their money, right? The Soulful Entrepreneur, simple frameworks, simplifying money. Let's talk about this. Entrepreneurs, let's say beginning 6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneurs, often solo, maybe small teams. Let's break down, what are some of the things from the financial side? What are some of the hiccups? What are some of the mishaps? What are some of the things that people just aren't even aware of that you're able to break down? What are the things that you see most common?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all at the foundational level need to understand our relationship with money. So
Mm,
the book starts there. I mean, I give you some ideas as to how you can unpack some of that. A lot of it comes from our upbringings, who we hang around, what our past experience has been with money, how we treated money, if we've been in debt, if we've gotten out of debt. I think you have to start at that foundational level, because if you have a story that kind of keeps you in an unworthiness mode or a scarcity mode, or it's burning a hole in my pocket. As soon as I get it, I spend it, right? Like there's all these different versions. Once you understand that, you can begin to make shifts, because I got to tell you, you go in entrepreneurship, that money story is amplified. Like it's just going to show up bigger, because you are responsible for yourself, your business, your income, and potentially other people's income. And so starting with the money story is where we always begin. It always comes down to you. What matters to you? Do your financial decisions kind of align with what really matters to you, or are you trying to keep up with the Joneses? Are you trying to overinvest in certain things? And so the money story is a common place that we have to understand and have conversations around. We exist to give you a safe space to talk about that. The other parts really have to do with just understanding what numbers to look at. A lot of people are like, oh, I get my P&L, my bookkeeper sends it to me. I know the drill. You go to the bottom line, you scroll down and you say, is it positive or negative? That all of a sudden means that my business is either, going in the right direction or not. And there's so much more to it. So I really break it down into the 5 numbers you need to know. I'll give them to you real quick, but
Yeah,
revenue,
let's
gross.
dig into it. Finish the what like the higher level overarching thing, and then let's break into those 5. I want to dig deep into those.
Okay. Okay. So I'll finish that part of the story. So there's the 5 numbers you need to know. There's simple cash flow exercises, because it's not just about revenue. It's super sexy, right? And people talk about it in the 6-figure, 7-figure, but it's really not what you sell it for. It's what you get to keep. And then there's cash flow still involved. There's how you pay yourself as an entrepreneur. There's credit cards that aren't due right away. That's why we use them as a cash flow tool to buy us some time, get us some points, right? So there's tools in the book like that. There's also, really a defining what your life you want your life to look like. Jake, if you really enjoy sports or family, or you've got potentially a wedding coming up, right? You've got things like this. You want to be able to structure your business to support that so that you can do that. I mean, I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've had over the last few years say, I'm getting married, I'm taking a month off. Let's make sure my business doesn't shit the bed. Like, okay,
Right.
great. That work starts now. But
Yeah.
you've got to look at all the resources that you have: time, people, money, and energy. These are the 4 resources that we optimize in order to get your business set up on a stable foundation. So you can reap all of the rewards. You can do the things in your business that you love, that you are good at. You can take time off and the machine is still running. You can build generational wealth, personal wealth on that side. You can, really optimize your tax strategies. We work with CPAs on that. There's just, to me, I get so excited about money. And I know a lot of people get fearful because it's just like, wow, it represents so much potential and possibility.
Yeah, yeah. I really love like just hearing you talk about it, it's so clear. Like you make it seem that we can figure this stuff out, right? Because I can't tell you, I've had the privilege of being around some very successful entrepreneurs who have started from the ground up, who have sold some things, and I've learned so much. But something that I've also learned is that people that like we see on social media, or people that we look up to, even mentors of a lot of people in, especially in the online space, they have no fucking clue what's going on with their money behind the scenes. I know people that have 7-figure businesses that are just sitting on cash hand over fist. And I know people that are running 7-figure businesses and they're broke. And they have no idea. Neither of them have an idea. And so I just want everyone that's listening here to understand that money is one of those topics that can be hard to discuss, because it makes us face our fears. It makes us face our reality. It makes us face our childhood. And it also makes us look at freaking numbers, right? And for a lot of people, that is terrifying. And I get that. But I also want you to know that you're not alone, okay? And that's why this book is so needed, is because you break it down in a way to help people feel that they're not alone. Tell people feel that, like, you know what? Like people often say like, well, I don't look, because if I don't look, I don't have to know. And I think that you do such a good job in this book. And so as we talk about these 5 things, I just want everyone who's listening to keep an open mind here, because no matter where you're starting from, all 5 of these numbers are going to be relevant. And then as we break down these 5, Bridgette, I want to get specific into some of these as well. So walk us through the 5 key metrics that we should be looking at in our businesses.
Yes, let's go there. So everybody listen up, get your notepads out, get your phone notes. So the first one is revenue. Okay. And revenue is the fuel, right? It generates the cash flow that a business cannot run without. It's also social proof that people are buying what you're putting out there. When you generate revenue, that means you're onto something, right? So you always want to look at your revenue from a starting point every single month. So that's number 1. Number two is gross profit. So many of us have service-based businesses, so you might not have really obvious costs, but gross profit is basically your revenue minus what it costs you to sell it. So if you're a service-based, you might have an affiliate program, for example. That would be like a direct selling cost. If you're product-based, it's a little bit more obvious because you have material costs and things like that. So that's the second one. The third one is going to be your burn rate. And this one might not be as obvious, but it's basically your cash burn rate. So what does it actually cost you every month to run your business, even if you didn't sell anything? Think software subscriptions. Think if you have office space or rent or admin, kind of contractor costs. Those are your burn rate. That gives you such clarity because you know what you need to profit in order to break even. And we all love targets, right? So burn rate's really important for that. You also need to reevaluate your resources often. The fourth one's net income. So this is after any other one-off. So a lot of us invest in masterminds or different things. They're not recurring, but they happen, and we've got to include those in our number to get to the net income. And the fifth one's cash. So as I mentioned, cash is just the fuel for your business. It cannot operate without cash. There are a million different ways that you can generate revenue and spend money. It's about being intentional and saying, is my financial strategy aligning with my actual goals? And so there's some cash flow tips in the book as well about how to manage cash flow. I mean, it's basically, listen, get money in faster and pay it out slower. I mean, just let's keep it super simple.
Right. Okay, this is a great description. I want to dig deep into each one of these here because I do think that these are going to be some questions that like I know I've always had and that I always do have and that I can ask them a million different ways, but we're going to narrow in. So revenue. When you're looking at this, okay, let's start very, very topical. You're looking at revenue, okay? If somebody runs a high ticket business and let's say they charge $10,000 for a service, they sell 5 of those, that's $50,000 in contracted revenue. Mm-hmm. But let's say someone runs a monthly service and it's $2,000 a month. Maybe they're an agency, maybe they're whatever. It's $2,000 a month. How do you track that revenue? Do you do projected revenue based on how long you think someone should be? Or do you do revenue based on cash collected? Let's start there with revenue, and then it'll lead us down this mini like 5-number equation.
Yeah, absolutely. So revenue is the amazing inflow of cash, right? So we usually track at cash basis because it is really when it's received. However, if you've invoiced something and it's contracted, that's committed, right? So when we look at numbers, we'll look at the cash basis for the most part for most individuals in most businesses. When we project out, we use those things, right? So we use that projected cash flow. If there's a 6-month program and they're on a payment plan, we want to be able to project that out. You can then see how much revenue you're contracted for. You know what your break even is because you know your burn rate. And then you can basically say, okay, every month I need to collect this much. Or it'll also give you a roadmap to be able to look out. We usually go 12 plus months out and say, when do I need to launch? Maybe you have a launch-based business, and those are big cash inflows potentially if they're paid in full. Then you get to be able to say, okay, I have this big bucket of cash that came in. Yay me, I had a great launch. How long is that going to last me? And so what I always recommend for anybody that's in business is start to figure out the different frequency of revenue options that you can offer. So maybe there is a monthly subscription that creates recurring revenue, takes the pressure off of you having to sell something every month. Maybe there's launch based and you say, okay, great, I'm only going to launch this many times a year. How can I sprinkle some of these different revenue frequencies in? I call it revenue plotting. When you're plotting it on a map and you could say, okay, great, I've got this many subscriptions, I've got this much, I'm launching here, so I know my target. And it's really kind of cool. Like I mentioned, I wanted a roadmap for my book. This is a roadmap for your money. We call it a money map.
Yeah. Okay, this is great. And the next question here is, let's go to gross profit. I believe that's the second thing we want to look at, right? Mm-hmm. So let me give an example, and I'll use our business as an example here, right? We run a business, our business, and what we do is it's a service-based business. We have contractors, we have affiliates, we sometimes have ads to acquire customers. We do ads or referrals or whatever it is. In terms of gross profit, what should I be including in that? Should that be like contractors used? Anything that it costs us to help a client launch their book? Anything that basically is required to fulfill the deliverables that we've set in the contract? Is that how I should be thinking about the gross profit at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think if those contractors are directly related to those sales, then yes. But if it's kind of like you have to pay no matter what, that's a little
Okay,
bit.
so let's separate those real quick here, just so you can finish that thought here. Let's say we're working on someone's book, and I want everyone to think about this for your own business, right?
Yep.
So we have a team of people that are, no matter how many people we're working with, we have those people that we're paying. That's like our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have contractors that are specific for each book project.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, can you elaborate on kind of what you were saying on the difference there?
Yep, that is a great example. And so for anybody out there that this resonates with, if you're paying a contractor, again, if you didn't sell anything, you'd still be paying that amount, right? So
That's the
hi
key.
Jake. Yep. So that is by definition then the burn rate. If you contract people because it's a specific to an event or they're coming in on project work or just coming in to, fulfill and execute the program, you could argue that that would be more of a cost of goods sold.
Exactly. Okay. So to finish that example for myself and for everyone that's listening, basically it's like, what is my cost to fulfill before I look at paying my team and some of those
Mm-hmm.
other things that I have to pay no matter if the sales happen or not.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that only happens due to a sale, that becomes that first number. Let's look at the burn rate here. Okay. And I know I'm flying through this and I know that there's so much to dig deep into. And that's when everyone could go pick up the book. But for the sake of this, let's talk about burn rate, right? Which you kind of alluded to as kind of that amount per month that you're spending to break even, right? That's kind of how you reverse engineer the break even point. What about, companies that do launch, or what about companies that are either very new and they don't have historical data to look at? Or what if, you mentioned you invest in masterminds, but that's a lump sum in October versus spread out over the year. How do you approach the burn rate number to really understand that truth of your business?
Yeah. So a lot of times we'll use historical, but let's just talk about the example of being earlier season or earlier stage. A lot of things that are in the burn rate are recurring. So they might be on a subscription. You can start to, 'cause it's a projection, right? So whether it's, whatever software you're using or your cell phone or something like that, you can project that out. I have a lot of service-based businesses that have a pretty low burn rate. It's the one-time investments in coaching or masterminds that actually come up. And that's by design, right? So I think that burn rate, and I mentioned to the contractors that are maybe you're going to pay no matter what, could be in there. And depending on how your entity is set up, you should be a line item, right? I mean, we're doing this for a reason, right? We want to generate an impact and we want to generate an income and we want to do all the things. So those are some really important things because you would pay yourself, assuming cash flow was there, regardless, right? So those the burn rate is really important, like you said, because I like to reverse engineer it. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with a business owner and they're like, just tell me what I need to sell. Like I'm really driven by, that process and having targets. And I know I want to help these people, but I actually don't even know how much I need to generate in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they want to simplify it. Just tell me what I need to do. I'm just doing it and I'm out here doing it. And I'm out here doing it. I'm not looking at my numbers. So I don't really know what's happening, but how do I then know that that month is taken care of or that my inflow is covering the outflow to simplify it even further? And so burn rate is really important. You got to relook at that sometimes because entrepreneur, we get creative. We have fun. We got new offers out there. You got to reassess all of your resources to make sure that those resources are supporting your new offers.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't do that. And that's where that burn rate, we got to look at it and go, wait a minute, this person I had was really working on this, but now they're not doing that anymore. I'm not offering that anymore. Is there a better fit for them? Or is it something that season has ended? And we forget about that. Subscriptions too. I mean, they'll just, your P&L will bleed $25 at a time every month because these subscriptions just keep going out. And so it's just really important to reevaluate all that. You work hard for that money, take care of it.
I love this. I love this. I can go on and on and on with all of the questions, but the last two, right? The last two are net income and cash flow, correct?
Yeah.
And we got balloons. Guys, if you're listening to this, I just put up my hands and balloons came across the screen. It's a freaking party over here. It's a money party. All right. Freaking awesome. But let's kind of go here as we kind of finish up. We're talking about money. We're talking about relationship money. We're talking about understanding money.
Mm-hmm.
When people look at their business, what is the first or the best piece of advice that when someone's looking at their business and they're like, holy shit, I'm lost, or holy shit, what do I not know that I should be knowing? What is that? Because I'm sure there's core, very clear objectives and things that somebody can do as an action item right after listening to this.
Yeah. This is going to sound even more simple and more obvious, but I cannot describe to you how many times on every CFO coaching call that I have to ask this question and make sure that it's a priority. And it's this statement, basically: when in doubt, generate revenue.
Okay.
Revenue will solve most business problems, right? It's going to generate cash. It won't solve them all. It's a simplistic approach, but there's too many times we take our foot off the gas. There are too many times we forget that the seeds are being planted even when we're not in launch. There are too many times where we get to the point where we get almost unhealthily obsessed with our numbers. Looking at the numbers and plugging and playing, that's not going to change your outcome. It's generating revenue. It's serving your clients. It's creating amazing customer experiences. It's understanding how to upsell and price and all of those things. And the only way you get to do that is by getting reps in. I was overhead when I was a corporate CFO. I never sold anything in my life. It was very uncomfortable for me coming into entrepreneurship. So I totally get it. But that is the one thing that I can tell you is any strategy that I ever give. I just got off of a call with clients now and I said, yes, we're going to do this. And we're not going to let our foot off the gas, right?
Yeah.
We've got to build the tank so that we can then reinvest in either ourselves, our business, or, take the payout on the personal side. It's not just the business, it's the lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have a million more money questions. Maybe we'll have to do like money as an author here on another episode down the line. But talk about last question I have for you before we tell everyone where to get the book is there's all different levels, all different types of businesses. Every situation is going to be different, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that every person needs to know and every person needs to think about, but there's also nuances and unique situations for every single person based on their goals, their objectives, their business, their offers, their whatever, their everything.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to your financial team, okay? And this could be at any level, but what do you encourage? Because I know you work with people at a variety of levels. What do you encourage each person's team? And let's say they are a 6 or 7 figure business owner for the sake of this. 6 or 7 figure business owner. They have QuickBooks and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
What type of team should they be thinking about interviewing, exploring, or learning about?
Yeah, this is a really great question. People ask me all the time, how do I know I'm ready for a CFO? And just for those, like, I forget that this isn't obvious, but chief financial officer, it's financial strategist for your business. And my answer to that is when your business becomes bigger than you. If you're just in there generating the revenue, paying the bills, you're okay to do that. You're at the capacity that feels good to you. You might not need that strategist, but you start hiring people, you start filing as an S corp, paying yourself a salary, hiring people, figuring out compensation plans, doing financial modeling. Maybe you're getting a construction loan because you're expanding your brick and mortar. These are big decisions. You don't need to be doing those by yourself. It can be very stressful if you're unfamiliar. So the financial team that I recommend for somebody that's 6, 7 figure, that's starting to basically say, I'm generating some cash, I've got some people on my team, I really want to make sure that my strategy feels a little bit more clear. Your CFO, and we have a CFO team, we offer bookkeeping and payroll as well. That is where that financial strategy comes in, but we don't do it alone. Like, accountants aren't all the same skill set. So I'm really high. I love thinking about the strategy and the high level and communication and leadership coaching, these tough decisions sometimes we have to have with employees. That's my jam. I want to coach you through that. I want to make you feel really good and confident going into those. But I'm not a tax specialist. So you need a CPA, right? A certified public accountant who does not just filing your annual returns, but tax strategy at least twice throughout the year. You don't want to get to the end of the year, have to pay for this year's tax liability, and then get into next year and start paying. There's all kinds of vehicles out there for your business that you can look at for retirement vehicles to reduce your tax liability. What deductions can you take? Your CPA is your tax specialist. We work very closely with CPAs. We have our own network and we work with yours. The third leg of the stool is a financial advisor. So this would be on the personal side. This is the one who says, Jake, what do you want in 10 years? Like, are you looking to buy a home? Are you looking to, retire at a certain age? What kind of vehicles are you getting into real estate? What kind of cash flow do you need to be able to have access to? These questions come up and they are trained, they are certified to be able to say, hey, how do we make Jake's plan happen? So we work closely with them too, because guess what? Your business is the source of all of that. So we get to say, how do we optimize the business? Okay. Then we go with a CPA and say, what kind of tax strategy do we need? And then we get with a CFA and say, can the business afford what Jake's goals are? Mm. And then all of a sudden, by the end of it, you got a whole team that's just Team Jake. And you're like, I'm held. I'm good. I'm educated. I feel good.
I love it. That's going to be a huge thing for a lot of people who are listening to this. I love that, because I think it's sometimes we put all of these people together, all these financial accountant people in like one bucket, and we don't know the difference. And how you just broke it down was probably one of the clearest ways I've ever heard it broken down for a entrepreneur and CEO's kind of team. So I love that. Amazing. I mean, this whole thing has been amazing. How do we get the book? How do we follow along? How do we continue to learn about you and work with you?
Yeah, you can get the book on Amazon. It's called Money Queen. You can follow me on Instagram at Bridgette Boucha. Hang out there all the time. Love to drop some money bombs. And then my website is also Bridgette Boucha. That's where you can book me for speaking or inquire about working together on a group level or individual level.
Incredible. We'll link all that up. And I just got to say, thank you for being on the show. Like, I always love chatting with you. This was so fun. So thank you for being on the show. And for everybody who enjoyed this, dominate your money. Money's awesome. Like for a series as we are, and money's so difficult to talk about, like, money's freaking cool. You can do a lot of cool things with money. And there's a lot of work to be done around the mindset of money and the thoughts around money. But let me tell you this, if you have money questions, get the book Money Queen. And that's my challenge to you on this one, is think about your money situation, think about what you want, think about your mindset, and then go read Money Queen and see if that doesn't change the way you think about things. All right, that's what I got for y'all today. Appreciate you, Bridgette. Appreciate everyone who listened to this. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.